All right, Shalawam Israel. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalawam to the leg out there doing this work of faith and labor of love and true sincerity. All right, I want to get into a quick topic, basically entitled Remember Just Judgments. And, just thinking about the constant, hell brothers go through every single day. And, this great battle that we have, between our spirit and our flesh. We have to constantly be mindful to remember just judgments, remember the law, statutes, commandments within our walk. Constantly remember the scriptures, that with every action taken, we think upon the Lord, you know. That way, before we, get ourselves into something that we can't handle, or we get ourselves into something that could cause us to err against the scriptures, you know, that we have our line of defense, which is Yahweh Shem Shah, in our mind, so that we know the right path to follow and that we don't go, out of the way of understanding. So we always have to remember what those just judgments of the Lord and the things, that the Lord has taught us and is teaching us, through our apostles and our elders of Great Millstone. And so getting into this example, this is the book of Susanna, verse 7. It says, now when the people departed away at noon, Susanna went into her husband's garden to walk, and the two elders saw her going in every day and walking, so that their lust was inflamed toward her, and they perverted their own mind and turned away their eyes, that they might not look unto heaven nor remember just judgments. And albeit they both were wounded with her love, yet durst not one show another his grief, for they were ashamed to declare their lust, that they desired to have to do with her, yet they watched diligently from day to day to see her. So you have this example where these two elders, you know, were in awe of a beautiful woman, which happens to be married, which was Susanna. Okay. Now, what was going on with them, when you go back to verse 8, and it says what? And the two elders saw her going in every day and walking, so that their lust was inflamed toward her. So, this whole scenario was nothing more than a temptation. Okay, this was a temptation of the flesh in which these elders, gave into. Okay, because what? Them seeing Susanna every day, we got to think our flesh is constantly calling, and our spirit, is want to lean towards the ways of Yahweh Shemi Shah. You know, so in this case, what they see, you see a beautiful woman, and pretty much say to yourself, okay, she looked good or whatever. Now the second day, you see it again, you thinking things in your head. The third day, the fourth day, the fifth day, and the more you get to see this woman, in which their case was, the more they got to see her every single day. That lust that of them wanting her build up, even though they knew that she was a married woman. Okay, and when you read verse 9, it says, and they perverted their own mind and turned away their eyes, that they might not look unto heaven nor remember just judgments. Now, why did they do this? Okay, because it said what? They perverted. They purposely twisted their own mind and turned away their eyes, that they wouldn't look unto the Most High nor remember just judgments. Okay, now why did they do this? Because they were actually convicted in the spirit, but what? They wanted to give into the flesh. Okay, and within these times, brothers, we have to be mindful not to give into our flesh like that, that can cause us to err, man. Okay, you have to we if we live in the spirit, we have to know how to maintain living in the spirit, man. Brothers always say one of the hardest things about this truth is staying in this truth, and that's always being spiritually minded and trying to live for the spirit as much as possible, striving for that perfection. But these guys, they were actually convicted within the spirit. That's why when you go to verse 11, it says, for they were ashamed to declare their lust, that they desired to have to do with her. Now, what reason would they have to be ashamed? Because they knew within their mind that they were lusting after a married woman. Okay, and which in turn that caused them commit adultery, because they were thinking of her okay, in a sexual manner within our own mind. Okay, so they were convicted by this. This is why they purposely said, I'm not going to think about the Lord. I'm not going to think about the Lord's statutes and commandments. I'm not going to think about this. They went out and just said, the hell with it. I'm not going to let my spirit take over. I'm going to let my flesh take over. And that's a sign of giving up. You know, as we walking in this truth, we always have to have the mind frame that even though we're not going to be as perfect as we would like to be, but that we can't give up, and just let our flesh just run amok, man, because ultimately that's going to cause what destruction unto us if we live for our flesh and not for our spirit, man. Okay. But as I'm bringing out this scenario here, this scenario in general, what was a temptation of the flesh, which was a temptation of Satan. Okay. So this is Second Corinthians chapter 2 verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And those wicked elders, they got caught up in that device in which Satan planted before them, man. We have to be very careful and tread lightly within this truth, because that act in which they did, and them perverting their minds so much, that caused them their souls, man. They were wicked anyway when you read up in the chapter. But just say, for instance, if they weren't wicked, if they were actually righteous men striving for perfection, that one act alone, and them lusting after Susanna and them perverting their own mind, that cost them their lives. That cost them their salvation, man. That's how we have to look at this thing while we're in this truth. That one wrong move can cost us our salvation. That's why we have to tread lightly, man. Just being in this truth, it's a beautiful thing, but it's scary at the same time, man. The scriptures say it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. So what? We can't be ignorant of Satan's devices when Satan try to put little traps before us. Because remember, that Satan knows our weaknesses, man. So Satan knowing our weaknesses, we have to know the types of traps that Satan will try to plan for us in a way, to try to get us caught up in that mousetrap, man. But we have to find ways to avoid that, and first and foremost is what? By prayer. Okay, this is Luke 18:1. And he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray and not to faint. Okay, so what? This was the point of YAHAWASHI, getting into this parable of the importunate widow, for men to know that they ought always to pray and not to faint, man. From whatever situations that you may be going through, always pray, man. A lot of us, even myself, don't pray enough. But that's why, this is for me as well, that I get on it even more, you know, because when Satan comes at you, and if you're not praying unto YAHAWASHI, then you're bound to eventually give in to the ways of the flesh, man, and be in the way of error, you know. So, real quick, this is the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 12. Therefore, brethren, we are debtors, not to the flesh, to live after the flesh. Okay? So what? We're not, we are debtors, but not to the flesh. Whereas Yahushua, down on the cross, and bringing us grace and his truth, of Yahweh, you know, that made us in debt with the Lord, that we ought to live after the spirit. Because what? Living after the flesh is what got us in this position in the first place, man. Going after the vain philosophies and want to follow the false gods of the other nations, man. Doing the things that were pleasant unto our eyes, and which we saw that were right in our own minds. So we have to, within these last days, we have to make sure that we are actually living as righteous men and living as debtors unto Yahushua, and living by the Spirit, man. That's how we are slowly but surely paying back the Most High. Even though what Yahushua did for us, we can never thank him enough for that. There's not enough sacrificing, and not enough preaching, not enough doing shows on this earth that we can do to ever pay Yahushua back, But the effort in which we put in to live after the Spirit, Yahushua is willing to accept that, as long as we're giving it our all, man. Okay? So it says, therefore, brethren, we are debtors, not to the flesh, to live after the flesh. For if ye live after the flesh, ye shall die. And that's what happened with those two wicked elders when you get fully into the story, man. They were living after the flesh, and that caused them to die, you know. But if ye through the Spirit do mortify the deeds of the body, ye shall live. Okay? And this is, mortifying the deeds of the body, it's not an easy task. Not an easy task at all, you know. But, that little bit day by day, you striving to get over, whatever maybe hindering you, man, in the spirit. The certain things of the flesh that you may know that you have a weakness for, you try to put that off slowly but surely, man. You know, Not everybody can go cold turkey with certain things. Certain brothers can, but certain brothers can't. But that's why you take your time with this thing, man. You know, and eventually you'll be able to put off certain deeds and what you never thought that you can put off before, man. You know, I just wanted to bring out, this quick lesson, just to remind brothers, to remember those just judgments that every single day, as I got into the example, in the book of Susanna, which was a test for these men, that every day, we're constantly being tested. But it's what you do in those moments, that is going to show forth if, you're giving honor to your flesh or giving honor to your spirit or giving honor to Satan or giving honor to YAHAWASHI. So we just got to be mindful of these things, and when things come up, we have to pay attention to the spirit, man, and actually walk after that, man, in righteousness. So with that, I hope this segment was edifying. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahawashi, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalawam to the elect out there, doing his work of faith and labor of love and true sincerity. Shalawam, and death to America.